First contact and ultimatum. The massive ship appeared without warning in Earth's orbit. One moment, deep space monitoring stations showed nothing unusual. The next, alarms blared across every military and scientific installation on the planet. Captain Alina Rice was reviewing crew performance reports aboard the EDF Defender, Earth's most advanced patrol vessel, when the emergency alert sounded. "Status report," she demanded, striding onto the bridge. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Jackson Wade, looked up from his console with wide eyes. "Unknown vessel, Captain. It just appeared. No approach vector, no warp signature. It's simply there." Alina's eyes narrowed as she studied the main view screen. The alien ship dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. A sleek, obsidian structure that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. At nearly 5 kilometers long, it could house a small city within its hull. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." For 3 tense hours, Earth's unified defense forces mobilized while scientists attempted to analyze the visitor. Orbital platforms pivoted their weapons toward the alien vessel, though Alina doubted their effectiveness against such advanced technology. On Earth, people gathered around screens in homes and public squares, fear and wonder mixing in equal measure. When the alien ship finally broke its silence, the message came simultaneously across all communication channels in perfect English and every other major language. "People of Earth, we are the Collective, an alliance of 217 species united in peaceful cooperation across 7 galactic sectors. We have observed your civilization's rapid advancement with great interest. The time has come to formalize relations between us." The voice was melodic, almost artificially pleasant, generated by an exceptionally advanced translation system that eliminated any hint of alienness that might disturb human listeners. Within 12 hours, a delegation of Earth's highest-ranking officials assembled at the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. President Sophia Chen, elected 3 years earlier on a platform of expanded space exploration, addressed the hastily gathered assembly. "This is unquestionably the most significant moment in human history," she stated, her calm demeanor belying the gravity of the situation. "We must present a united front in this first diplomatic exchange." Alina found herself unexpectedly included in the delegation, likely due to her position as captain of Earth's most advanced vessel and her diplomatic experience during the Mars colony crisis 5 years earlier. She now stood uncomfortably in her dress uniform behind President Chen as Earth prepared to receive its first alien visitors. The meeting chamber, hastily converted from the UEG's Grand Assembly Hall, fell silent as a column of light shimmered in the center of the room. 4 figures materialized, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin in varying shades of blue and green. Their faces bore 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, breathing slits where a nose would be on a human, and no visible mouth. Their movements were eerily fluid, almost liquid. "Greetings," came the same melodic voice from the earlier broadcast, seemingly emanating from all 4 beings simultaneously. "I am Nexus, primary ambassador of the Collective. With me are representatives Meridian, Apex, and Zenith." President Chen stepped forward, hands clasped before her in a gesture of peaceful intent. "On behalf of all humanity, welcome to Earth. We are honored by your presence and eager to establish friendship between our peoples." The being identified as Nexus inclined its elongated head slightly. "Your hospitality is appreciated, President Chen. The Collective has monitored Earth's development for several of your centuries. Your species' adaptability and technological innovation rate is remarkable." Something in the ambassador's tone made Alina uneasy. There was a subtle emphasis on remarkable that suggested it wasn't entirely complimentary. Over the next hours, the Collective representatives shared information about their alliance, a union of spacefaring civilizations spanning nearly a quarter of the Milky Way galaxy. They described elaborate trade networks, shared technological advancement, and peaceful coexistence between formerly hostile species. "And now," Nexus finally said, We extend formal invitation to humanity to join this grand alliance." President Chen smiled diplomatically. "We are deeply honored by your invitation. Naturally, we would need to discuss the specifics of such an arrangement." "Of course," Nexus agreed. "The transition would be gradual. The collective would provide immediate technological upgrades to your medical systems, eliminating most human disease within a decade. Your energy concerns would be resolved through implementation of our standard fusion protocols. Your lifespans would effectively double." Elena noticed that Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka, Earth's leading xenobiologist, was watching the aliens with increasing skepticism. When the formal presentation concluded and Earth's representatives began asking questions, Tanaka leaned forward. "This is indeed generous," he said carefully. "What would Earth contribute to the collective in return?" The alien named Meridian answered, its skin shifting to deeper blue tones. "All member species contribute according to their strengths. Earth possesses unique biological diversity and mineral compositions valuable to the collective. Additionally, human creativity shows promising applications in various fields." Elena felt a chill at the clinical assessment of Earth's value. She caught Tanaka's eye across the table, recognizing the same concern in his expression. As the initial meeting adjourned, Elena found herself walking alongside Dr. Tanaka through the corridors of the UEG building. "They're not telling us everything," Tanaka murmured, careful to avoid being overheard. "Their body language, subtle as it is, changes when discussing certain topics." Elena nodded slightly. "I noticed. They emphasized benefits but were vague about expectations." "There's more," Tanaka continued. "I've been allowed to examine the preliminary biological data they provided. It's sanitized, Captain. Too perfect, too clean. Like a carefully curated presentation rather than actual scientific exchange." Before Elena could respond, they were approached by Representative Zenith, who had separated from the main delegation. "Captain Reyes," the alien addressed her directly. "Your vessel, the Defender, employs an interesting approach to shield harmonics. Most innovative." Elena tensed. The Defender's shield configuration was classified information. "Thank you," she replied neutrally. "We're constantly seeking improvements." "Indeed," Zenith continued. "The collective appreciates innovation within established parameters." "Parameters?" Elena questioned. "Ah, yes. Membership in the collective naturally requires technological standardization. For efficiency and safety." The alien's upper eyes blinked in sequence. "Your development programs would be realigned with collective protocols." After the alien departed, Tanaka whispered, "Did you hear that? Realigned development." Over the next 3 days, Earth's leaders met repeatedly with the collective representatives. Each session revealed more details about the proposed alliance, and with each revelation, Elena's concerns deepened. The arrangement would grant humanity access to advanced medicine, energy systems, and limited space travel capabilities. In exchange, Earth would provide resources, become a manufacturing center for certain collective technologies, and most troublingly, submit to technological oversight. On the 4th day, Elena was summoned to a secure room deep beneath the UEG complex. President Chen sat at the head of a small table with only 5 others present, Earth's most senior military and scientific leaders. "Captain Reyes," Chen began without preamble, "your security clearance has been temporarily elevated. What I'm about to share remains absolutely confidential." She activated a holographic display showing what appeared to be intercepted collective communications. Our cryptography team partially decoded this transmission between the collective vessel and what we believe is their nearest outpost. Dr. Tanaka's team has translated approximately 60%. The decoded text appeared alongside the alien symbols. Earth assessment. Classification B3. Resource: rich, technologically emergent. Recommended protocol: standard integration. Oversight priority level 2. Resource extraction timeline: initiate within 5 local years. Note: human innovation rate exceeds prediction models. Recommendation: accelerate technological limitation protocols. Warning: independent development trajectory indicates 76% probability of emergence as competitor within 30 cycles if left uninhibited. Elena read the text twice, a cold weight settling in her stomach. "They're not here to welcome us as equals," she said quietly. "This is a colonization assessment." President Chen nodded grimly. Dr. Tanaka identified anomalies in their biological data yesterday. They've been selectively editing information, presenting a sanitized version of the collective. We have reason to believe they've done this before with other species. Admiral Hernandez, the highest-ranking military officer present, spoke up. "We've been analyzing their vessel. Despite its size, our readings suggest minimal weapons systems. It's primarily a diplomatic and scientific ship." "They don't expect resistance," Elena realized. "Precisely," Chen confirmed. "They anticipate gratitude and compliance from a species offered such generosity." Her expression hardened. "They've underestimated humanity." General Santos, head of Earth Defense, tapped her fingers on the table. "If we reject their offer outright, we risk potential military response from their wider collective. We need time." Elena studied the partial translation again. "They mentioned our innovation rate as concerning. That suggests they fear our technological development." Dr. Tanaka nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, their technological sharing is carefully curated, designed to direct our development along specific paths while limiting others. It's technological shepherding, not partnership." President Chen looked at each person at the table in turn. "Tomorrow, the collective expects our preliminary response to their offer. We need a strategy that buys us time without revealing our suspicions." As the meeting continued into the night, a plan took shape, one that would require careful execution and unity among Earth's nations. By morning, Elena found herself once again standing behind President Chen as Earth prepared to deliver its response to the collective representatives. The fate of humanity would depend on what happened next. The decision and consequences. 1 week after the collective's initial contact, Earth's unified response was ready. The Great Chamber of the United Earth Government Headquarters had been transformed for the occasion, with representatives from every nation present to witness this historic moment. Captain Elena Reyes stood at attention behind President Chen, watching the collective representatives glide into the room with their unsettling fluid grace. "Honored representatives of the collective," President Chen began, her voice steady and clear. "Humanity has carefully considered your generous proposal for alliance. We are deeply appreciative of your interest in Earth and the benefits you've offered." Nexus inclined its head, the iridescent patterns on its skin pulsing with what Elena had come to recognize as satisfaction. "However," Chen continued, "we find ourselves requiring additional time and information before making such a momentous decision. Earth proposes a modified approach, a probationary period of cultural and scientific exchange before full integration." The skin patterns of all 4 collective representatives shifted abruptly, their 4-eyed gazes intensifying. "This is unexpected," Nexus replied after a pause that stretched uncomfortably long. "The terms offered represent standard integration protocols. Modification is not typical." "Perhaps not," Chen agreed with a diplomatic smile. "But surely you recognize that each species is unique. Humanity has existed as independent nations for most of our history. Our unified government is relatively recent. We require time for our global population to embrace such significant change." Elena watched the aliens closely, noting the subtle communication between them. Slight movements of their elongated fingers, changing skin patterns. They were conversing somehow, without speaking. Finally, Nexus responded. "We understand your concerns. A modified arrangement may be possible, though the technological benefits would necessarily be adjusted accordingly." "We anticipated as much," Chen replied smoothly. "Perhaps we could discuss which technologies might be shared during this transitional period." What followed was 3 days of intense negotiation. Earth's strategy, as decided in that secure underground room, was to appear eager for technological advancement while repeatedly raising concerns about cultural integration, essentially buying time while revealing as little as possible about Earth's true suspicions. During a brief recess on the third day, Alina found herself alone in a corridor with Representative Zenith. "Captain Reyes," the alien acknowledged her. "Your species displays unusual resistance to beneficial oversight." Alina maintained a neutral expression. "We value our independence. It's a core aspect of human identity." "Independence," Zenith repeated, as if testing the word. "An interesting concept. Inefficient, but interesting. Previous species at your development stage recognized the advantages of guidance more readily." "Previous species?" Alina asked carefully. "How many civilizations have joined the collective at a technological stage similar to ours?" Zenith's skin rippled with colors Alina couldn't interpret. 37 within the current expansion phase. All have flourished under collective protocols. "I'd be interested to communicate directly with some of these species," Alina suggested. "Perhaps their experiences would help ease our transition." "Unfortunately, direct communication would be premature," Zenith replied. "Too quickly. Cultural contamination risks must be managed carefully." That evening, Alina reported the conversation to the Emergency Council. "They're isolating us," she explained, "controlling all information about other species in the collective. It confirms our suspicions that they've done this before, absorbing developing civilizations before they can become potential competitors." Dr. Tanaka nodded vigorously. "I've been analyzing the limited biological data they shared. There are markers suggesting genetic manipulation in at least some collective species, subtle but unmistakable signs of designed limitation." Admiral Hernandez grimaced. "So they don't just direct technological development. They potentially modify member species themselves." President Chen's expression hardened. "Then our course is clear. We cannot accept their terms. If we reject them outright," General Santos warned, "we risk immediate military response. Their diplomatic vessel may have minimal weapons, but they likely have combat-capable ships within range." "Then we need a third option," Alina said. "Neither acceptance nor outright rejection." The plan they formulated was bold, possibly reckless, but unanimously approved. The next morning, President Chen addressed the collective representatives again, this time with the entire proceeding broadcast globally. "After careful consideration of your proposal," she began, "humanity has reached a decision. While we greatly value the opportunity for peaceful exchange with the collective, we must respectfully decline full integration under the current terms." The collective representatives' skin patterns flashed with rapid color changes, the alien equivalent of alarm. Instead, Chen continued before they could respond. "Earth proposes an alternative relationship, one of mutual exchange and cooperation between equals, without the oversight provisions or resource commitments your integration protocol requires." Nexus stepped forward, its voice losing some of its melodic quality. "President Chen, perhaps we have not adequately explained the benefits of collective membership. The technological advancements alone would transform your civilization. Independent relationships are not possible within our established protocols." "Then perhaps the protocols require revision," Chen replied firmly. "Humanity values our developmental independence. We seek friends among the stars, not overseers." The response was immediate and severe. Within hours, the collective ship withdrew to a higher orbit, and a final message was broadcast globally. "People of Earth, we regret your leadership's decision to reject collective benefits. Be advised that independent technological advancement beyond your current level will be considered a potential threat to galactic stability. Your system is now under observation status. Unauthorized attempts to develop faster-than-light travel or certain weapons technologies will prompt immediate intervention." In effect, Earth had been quarantined. Within days, 3 additional collective vessels arrived in the outer solar system, establishing a monitoring perimeter. They made no aggressive moves but maintained constant surveillance of Earth and its colonies on the Moon and Mars. They're trying to intimidate us, Admiral Hernandez observed during the Emergency Council meeting 2 weeks after the quarantine began, and prevent us from developing technologies that might challenge them, Elena added. Classic containment strategy. President Chen turned to Dr. Kiyoshi Tanaka. Doctor, what progress on the projects we discussed? Promising, Tanaka replied, activating the secure holographic display. We've been analyzing the limited collective data we received during negotiations. Their technological approach is fundamentally different from ours in key areas, more efficient in some ways, but with surprising blind spots. The display showed schematics for a propulsion system unlike anything Elena had seen before. They rely heavily on a standardized technology base, Tanaka continued, which means they may not be looking for approaches outside their experience. We're developing systems based on principles they seem to have abandoned or never explored. General Santos leaned forward. How long until we have operational prototypes? 6 months for the stealth communication system, Tanaka replied. Perhaps 18 months for the propulsion technology, assuming we can acquire certain rare materials, which will be difficult under blockade, Admiral Hernandez pointed out. Elena studied the propulsion schematics. The asteroid mining operations in the belt could be converted to extract what we need. The collective seems primarily focused on Earth itself and our major colonies. Their patrol patterns suggest minimal monitoring of the outer system. President Chen nodded. Captain Rice, I'm assigning you to lead this operation. Select a crew you trust implicitly. This mission cannot appear on any official channels. 3 months later, Elena stood on the bridge of the EDF Horizon, officially listed as decommissioned, but secretly retrofitted with experimental systems. Her hand-picked crew of 30 included the best engineers and scientists Earth could provide, including Dr. Tanaka himself. Final systems check complete, Captain. Lieutenant Commander Wee reported. He had insisted on joining her despite the risks. All signatures suppressed. As far as collective sensors are concerned, we're just background radiation. Very good, Elena replied, settling into the command chair. Remember, people, this isn't just a mining operation. If Dr. Tanaka's theories are correct, we may find more than rare minerals out there. The horizon slipped away from Earth during a coordinated solar flare that briefly overwhelmed collective monitoring systems. By the time the interference cleared, they were running silent, headed toward the asteroid belt with revolutionary technology concealed within a seemingly obsolete hull. What they discovered in the following weeks exceeded even Tanaka's optimistic predictions. The asteroid belt held not just the rare materials they sought, but evidence of previous collective activity, abandoned mining operations, and most significantly, the remnants of what appeared to be a monitoring outpost. This is at least 50 Earth years old. Tanaka marveled as they explored the derelict structure embedded in a large asteroid. They were watching us long before first contact. And they left in a hurry, Elena observed, noting the scattered equipment and partial data cores. Something caused them to abandon this position. Working tirelessly, Tanaka's team managed to extract fragmentary data from the abandoned systems. What they found changed everything. Earth isn't the first civilization they've quarantined in this sector, Tanaka explained during the midnight briefing in Elena's quarters. There were at least 3 others in the past century alone. One accepted integration eventually. The others what, Doctor? Elena prompted when he hesitated. Tanaka's expression was grim. We're subjected to what they call developmental reset, targeted strikes against key infrastructure to regress their technological capabilities by decades. The implications were chilling. Earth's defiance had placed it on a dangerous path. But the recovered data provided something else. Evidence of dissent within the collective itself. Not all member species agreed with the policy of technological suppression. Some advocated for true cooperation rather than the hierarchical structure that had evolved over millennia. This changes our mission, Elena told her crew the next morning. We're not just gathering materials now. We're looking for potential allies. The horizon pushed deeper into the outer solar system, using the revolutionary stealth technology to evade the collective patrols. As they approached Neptune's orbit, they detected unusual energy signatures that didn't match known collective patterns. Definitely artificial, HFY confirmed, but not Earth or collective in origin. Maintain stealth protocols, Elena ordered. Approach with caution. What they found orbiting in Neptune's shadow would change the course of humanity's resistance, and perhaps the structure of galactic civilization itself. Humanity's stand. The vessel hidden in Neptune's shadow defied easy classification, roughly half the size of the horizon. Its design featured organic curves and a metallic hull that shifted colors like oil on water. It made no attempt to flee as the horizon approached, nor did it respond to standard hailing frequencies. No weapons signatures, White reported, scanning the mysterious craft. But there's definitely someone aboard. I'm detecting life signs. Not human, not matching known collective species either. Elena made a decision. Open a channel. All frequencies. Universal greeting protocol. For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then, without warning, a holographic image appeared on the horizon's bridge, a being unlike any they'd encountered before. Where the collective representatives were tall and slender, this creature was compact with 6 limbs and a face dominated by a single large eye, surrounded by smaller sensory organs. You are not collective, the being stated in surprisingly good English. Yet you have collective-derived technology. Explain. Elena stepped forward. I am Captain Elena Reyes of Earth. We've developed our technologies independently, though we've had contact with the collective. The alien's eye contracted slightly. Earth. Yes. Recently approached for integration. Recently quarantined. Interesting that you've evaded their containment so quickly. Who are you? Elena asked directly. I am Observer Tix, of the Vex Confederation. The alien made a gesture that might have been equivalent to a shrug. A coalition of species who rejected collective oversight. We watch. We wait. Sometimes we interfere. Over the next hours, Elena learned that the Vex Confederation was composed of species who had either escaped collective control or had developed independently in regions the collective hadn't yet reached. They operated in secret, gathering intelligence, and occasionally helping civilizations resist collective domination. The collective began with noble purpose, Tex explained. Protection of developing species, prevention of destructive conflicts. But over millennia, protection became control. Guidance became subjugation. Why haven't you confronted them directly? Elena asked. Tix's small limbs moved in a complex gesture. The collective spans 7 galactic sectors. Their technological base is vast, their military resources substantial. The Confederation lacks the strength for direct confrontation. So you wage a shadow war, Elena surmised. We preserve alternatives, Tix corrected. We ensure the collective is not the only path for developing civilizations. After consulting with Earth via their secure communication system, Elena brokered a preliminary alliance with the Vex Confederation. Tix provided crucial information about collective weaknesses and blind spots, while Earth offered a forward base of operations near the heart of a sector the collective considered firmly under control. 6 months later, humanity's covert resistance had made significant progress. Hidden facilities throughout the solar system produced technologies based on principles the collective had either abandoned or never explored. The asteroid belt had been transformed into a production center, concealed by advanced stealth fields developed through the combination of Earth ingenuity and Confederation insights. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, humanity maintained a careful facade of compliance. Occasional diplomatic exchanges with collective representatives suggested Earth was reconsidering integration, buying precious time while the real work happened out of sight. Dr. Tanaka's team made perhaps the most significant breakthrough, a propulsion system that operated on principles entirely outside collective experience. Rather than manipulating space-time through conventional methods, the quantum slip drive briefly shifted a vessel partially out of normal space, allowing effective faster-than-light travel without creating the energy signatures the collective monitored for. When the first test vessel successfully traveled to Mars and back without triggering collective alarms, President Chen authorized the next phase of Earth's response. Elena, now admiral following a field promotion, stood before the combined leadership of Earth and representatives from the Vex Confederation in a secure facility buried beneath the lunar surface. "The quantum slip technology gives us the element of surprise," she explained, "but we still lack the firepower to challenge collective military vessels directly. We need a different approach." President Chen nodded. "We're not seeking a military victory. That's impossible given the disparity in forces. We need to change the equation entirely." Tex, representing the Confederation, manipulated a holographic display showing the local sector. For millennia, the collective has maintained control through isolation and information management. Member species are kept separate, allowed to communicate only through approved channels. Most believe the oversight they experience is unique to them, a special accommodation for their particular development stage. "Divide and conquer," General Santos observed. "Precisely," Tex confirmed. "If those species learned the truth, that they all exist under the same restrictions with no hope of advancement to true equality, the collective's control would be threatened." The plan they developed was audacious. Using the quantum slip technology, Earth vessels would bypass the quarantine perimeter and make direct contact with other contained civilizations. Simultaneously, they would transmit evidence of the collective's true nature to as many member worlds as possible. "This isn't just about Earth's freedom," President Chen told the Assembly. "It's about offering a choice to dozens of civilizations who may not realize alternatives exist." The operation began 3 months later. 20 ships, each equipped with quantum slip drives and advanced stealth systems, departed the solar system on carefully plotted courses. Admiral Reyes commanded the flagship, EDF Liberator, on the most crucial mission: direct contact with 3 civilizations in nearby systems that intelligence suggested were the most likely to be receptive. The collective's response came more quickly than anticipated. Before the Liberator could reach its first destination, sensors detected a massive energy surge near Earth. "They're bringing in reinforcements," White reported grimly. "Much larger vessels than the monitoring ships. Military grade." Elena studied the tactical display. "How many?" 7 capital ships," White replied. "Energy signatures suggest heavy weapon systems. They're moving into position around Earth." The collective's message was broadcast globally, its tone devoid of the earlier artificial pleasantness. "People of Earth, your unauthorized technological development constitutes a direct violation of quarantine protocols. Surrender all advanced systems immediately or face developmental reset procedures." From the Liberator's command deck, Alina watched the feed from Earth with growing concern. The collective had apparently detected some aspect of their operations, perhaps not the ships themselves, but enough activity to realize Earth was not complying with containment. "We need to accelerate the timetable," she decided. "All ships, initiate contact protocols immediately. Earth can't hold out against that kind of firepower for long." Over the next 72 hours, humanity's 20 ships made contact with 15 different civilizations. Some were under quarantine like Earth. Others were long-established collective members laboring under the illusion that they were advancing toward full partnership status. All received evidence of the collective's true hierarchical nature and the alternative offered by the Confederation. The response exceeded even the most optimistic projections. 7 civilizations immediately declared independence from collective oversight. 3 others, more cautious, began quiet negotiations with Confederation representatives. Most significantly, the revelations triggered unrest on dozens of collective worlds, as populations demanded answers from their representatives. Around Earth, the collective fleet held position but did not attack. Intercepts of their communications revealed confusion and conflict among their command structure. Some advocated immediate reset actions against Earth, while others urged caution, concerned about the spreading unrest. When the Liberator returned to Earth space, Alina was surprised to find the collective fleet in disarray. 3 of the capital ships had withdrawn entirely. The others maintained position, but had powered down weapon systems. "They're fracturing," Tix observed with what might have been satisfaction. For the first time in thousands of years, the collective leadership does not speak with one voice. The final confrontation came not as a battle but as a summit. 3 weeks after the beginning of Operation Disclosure, representatives from 20 former collective worlds arrived at Earth, bypassing the quarantine using technology shared by the Confederation. They requested a meeting with Earth's leadership and remaining collective forces. In the same UEG chamber where Earth had first received the collective proposal, Admiral Alina Reyes stood behind President Chen as a new galactic order took shape. The collective representatives, now reduced to just Nexus and Zenith, faced not just humanity but delegates from multiple species they had kept separated for centuries. "The collective structure has served its purpose," Chen stated firmly. "It preserved peace, but at the cost of freedom and true advancement. We propose a new framework, one of cooperative development and mutual respect." Nexus's skin patterns shifted rapidly in what Alina now recognized as agitation. "You cannot understand the consequences. Unregulated advancement has led to catastrophic conflicts in the past. The protocols exist for all species protection." "Protection should not require submission," replied the delegate from Kral, a world that had been under collective guidance for over 5 centuries. "We reject oversight and demand partnership." For 3 days, the negotiations continued. It became clear that the collective's unified front had indeed fractured. Many member species, upon learning the truth, had withdrawn support from the central authority. The military vessels meant to enforce Earth's compliance had been recalled to deal with more widespread unrest. In the end, a new arrangement emerged, the Galactic Accord, a framework for cooperation that expressly forbade the technological suppression or isolation of any member civilization. The collective, reduced but still powerful, would transition to become just one faction within this broader alliance. As the delegates signed the historic agreement, Alina found herself standing beside Zenith. "Your species moved more quickly than predicted," the alien observed, its tone difficult to interpret. "That's humanity's greatest strength," Alina replied. "We don't follow expected paths." "Indeed," Zenith acknowledged. Perhaps the collective's approach was flawed. Evolution requires diversity, even uncomfortable diversity. 1 year later, Admiral Alina Reyes stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the newly constructed diplomatic hub orbiting Earth. Below, her homeworld continued its recovery from the brief but damaging collective blockade. Around her, representatives from 37 species, former collective members, Confederation allies, and previously isolated civilizations, prepared for the first official assembly of the Galactic Accord. "Did you ever imagine this outcome?" asked Dr. Tanaka, now Earth's chief scientific liaison to the Accord. Alina shook her head slightly. "When they first arrived, I thought we were facing subjugation or destruction. Instead, we ended up reshaping the political structure of a quarter of the galaxy. Humanity's defining trait," Tanaka said with a smile. "We don't accept ultimatums well." As the assembly hall filled with beings of countless forms and evolutionary backgrounds, Alina reflected on the journey that had brought them here. Earth had refused to surrender its independence, its potential, its future, and in doing so, had offered the same chance to countless others. The universe had indeed trembled when humanity rejected the final peace offer. But from that defiance, a more genuine peace had emerged, one built on respect rather than control, on cooperation rather than submission. It was, Alina thought as she took her place in the assembly, a far better arrangement for everyone involved, except perhaps those who had grown too comfortable with power. As the first session of the Galactic Accord began, she couldn't help but wonder what other impossibilities humanity might accomplish in the centuries to come. The stars, truly unlimited at last, awaited.